Hey everyone! Renee!
Woohoo!
Renee, I forgot Melody had a plan for us. She decided to do an opening that the first time she went and tried it, she actually spelled my name wrong. So I sent that girl's butt back into the studio and I said, you retool that thing and get it going. All right, everyone, welcome to Kitchen Party. We are a little bit delayed today. I think it's the California heat that has slowed us down a bit, so we are enjoying a gin and tonic on this end. Renee, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking some fizzy water, unfortunately. Not even ice cubes.
Boo, boo. Can we get a boo?
Boo.
Everyone, exactly.
I can't boo because I'm drinking warm water out of a mason jar. So.
There are two of us.
I do appreciate that our guests are giving Renee a hard time as well, so I have a feeling this is going to be an amazing show. For those of you who are new to Kitchen Party is a weekly live show that we do on Google+. We bring the coolest people who are in food, who are either creating cookbooks or redesigning recipes or doing something really crazy like bringing food to a food festival, which is the topic of today's discussion. I don't know if we're in Los Angeles. We go to Coachella all the time. Crazy food. But I am going next week to what I think is going to be by far the coolest festival experience I've ever had. I've looked at the Outside Lands is going August 8th through 10th. If you're in San Francisco, you better check it out. But I've looked at their website, and I just went through Chocolate Land, and I went through Beer Land, and I went through Wine Land, and just looking at their menu has just made me salivate a bit. So, Renee, what do I do? How do I even begin to start? Where do I go? Which one should I go to first?
This is a big one. Well, let's start with some quick introductions.
Absolutely.
I'm a writer and editor at the LA Times. I work across a number of feature sections, including food and health. And I am ready to dive into Outside Lands and live vicariously.
Yay.
Absolutely.
So why don't we start with our guests? Jump in with just tell us who you are and what you're all about.
Amy, do you want to go first?
Sure, yeah. I'm Amy. I am from Guittard Chocolate. We are a family business founded in 1868 in San Francisco. I'm the 5th generation, which is totally intimidating, but also pretty fun. I work with my dad, and this is our 3rd year participating in Outside Lands. We're sponsoring Choco Lands, so there's about 5 vendors that come on site, and they do everything from giant s'mores to huge chocolate chip cookies and delicious hot chocolate. And we'll have a workroom on site where we're going to be dealing with some melted chocolate and giving people some liquid chocolate bars. But we can get into that later when we start talking about all the deliciousness that will be on site.
You know, Amy, before we move on to the next person, behind you, I think, is the Cheesecake Bible cookbook. The other side.
Yeah, you're right. Wow, you have a good eye.
There you go.
Yeah, this is funny. You guys are getting like my office just changed. I just got a new desk, which used to be my dad's desk, so it was a very sentimental transition. And what you can't see is a little bit of a cluster surrounding me. So the fact that you picked out that one little book behind me is quite a miracle. But yeah, good job.
I am a proud owner of that cookbook.
Oh,
so
excellent.
You and I are like sisters from another mother.
We can compare notes after.
We'll have to get a copy for Renee. So Dave, do you want to go next?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Dave McLean. I'm the founder and brewmaster of Magnolia Brewing Company in San Francisco, and also the beer curator for Outside Lands, for Beer Lands at Outside Lands. I'm also upstairs in the office of our new restaurant, and didn't realize quite how fun it is. But, our new place, Smokestack, which is a barbecue restaurant in the Dog Patch, but it's kind of a din of the crowd downstairs. I hope that's not coming through, but I'm happy to be here nonetheless.
You sound great. No, it sounds good.
Good.
Is there anything on the menu tonight that people at home, if they want some dinner, they should come check you out?
You should come in for the brisket. The brisket's always the go-to. And our house-made sausages. We got a Thai chili cheddar sausage. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, That sounds so good.
Renee,
I was there a month ago. I can vouch for the brisket. It's really good.
Nice. Thank you.
So Noah, do you want to tell the folks a little bit about you?
Yeah, I'm Noah Dorrance, and I'm one of the founders of Banshee Wines. We really just started about 5 years ago. It was me and two friends, and we had a dream to start our own winery, and we all worked in the wine industry in other capacities, and we kind of took the leap, and now we all do it full time. And this is actually our 5th year at Outside Lands as well. So we're Outside Lands and Banshee are kind of like in sync with with the life of our business. That's been an important part of our marketing plan. I say marketing plan, but really we go and drink a lot of wine and beer and listen to a lot of music and have fun, and it's a write-off.
That sounds like a plan.
So basically, you're a host of Kitchen Party.
Yes.
Okay.
So how about you, Rob?
Yes, I'm with Pacific Catch Restaurants. My name's Rob Schechtman. A little incestual relationships here. We sell Guittard chocolate and use it in our baking. Woohoo! And as I mentioned, we did a company outing about a month ago over to Smokestack, and I got to meet Dave in person for the first time. And he's actually very good friends with our marketing manager at Pacific Catch. So yeah, and maybe we'll be offering Noah's Wines here soon. Who knows? But yeah, happy to be on board here. We've been at Outside Lands since it started. We were there year one, and we've kind of grown along with it as our company grows, and we're excited to be back this year.
Hey, Rob, for somebody who maybe, like myself, who hasn't been to Outside Lands, can you just give us kind of an overview of what it's like and how the food fits into it all? Sure.
Number one tip, bring comfortable shoes. Bring a backpack with layers of clothing and maybe a hoodie or a hat or all that good stuff, gloves, mittens. We're in San Francisco and we're right by the ocean, so you never know what we're going to get. We've had sun on some years, we've had cold fog blowing over, but that's also part of the appeal, I think, and what makes it really a unique festival. Like you were saying, there's no other food gathering like this, and wine and beer, but also, and not just the music, of course, but the location of it in Golden Gate Park makes it so unique, just with the terrain, and you're trekking over hills to get from one show to the next, and through the forest, and through Choco Lands, and through the food truck land, and all that stuff. So it's just unlike anything I've been a part of up until 6 years ago when we got involved. So.
Before we dive into the food, you've got some pretty good names playing that night, playing the festival, right? Can you tell us about some of them?
If you're asking me, no. I'm Pacific Catch. I'm more about the food side. So, and honestly, when I looked at the lineup,
I know Tom Petty is playing. I know that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the name that caught my eye. I was like, wow. Yeah. That's like a pretty big catch.
Yeah.
Well, Tom Petty actually played at the first Outside Lands.
Oh, he did? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and it was pretty amazing because you're sitting there in the crowd. We weren't a part of it, but I've been to all the Outside Lands, and it's like every single person in the crowd knows every lyric to every song, and after like an hour and a half, you're like, is that all this guy has is like hits that everyone knows? And that's pretty much the way it goes. So I'm really excited to see Tom Petty again.
Yeah, I love him.
He's an awesome performer.
It's going to be a great performance.
Yeah, I saw him at the Greek Theater several years ago, and that's like super awesome venue. So even though like Outside Lands, some of the stages are huge, it still feels really intimate. I remember a couple years ago, Sigur Rós was playing on one end and Metallica was on the other, and it was like pyro and like flames coming from Metallica, and then Sigur Rós is like this little imp, like with the fog blowing over him, and it's just like, it feels very intimate, and everyone's just like in it. It's pretty magical. It's pretty crazy.
The food offerings are just so varied and so high scale compared to anywhere else that you'd go to a party like that or a ballpark or anything where we're accustomed to finding food. We're a little spoiled in San Francisco, obviously, with AT&T Park and getting crab melts and lobster rolls over there and any other item you look for across the city. But out at Outside Lands, it's just amazing to we serve our raw Hawaiian poke, which is ahi tuna, fish and chips, but just up and down the line, anything from crazy grass-fed burgers to, tacos that are made with, pulled pork or what have you. I can't even think of everything, but some excellent fried chicken and waffles and, all just crazy stuff. And all the food vendors, it's really like a huge barter system, trading behind the scenes and just trying to really taste and sample everything out there.
Before we go further, I just want to let the folks who are watching at home know that if you want to ask a question or a comment or you want to post pictures of your experience at Outside Lands, use our Google page, our event page, to post those questions. And also Renee is going to be following. I think Renee, I'm signing you up for this before I even ask. I think Renee will watch the Twitter stream, so use the hashtag KitchenParty, all one word, and we will follow that conversation as well. There's a new thing that was just launched today. Does any of you guys know about this? The Gastro Magic stage area?
No.
Yes.
No.
Oh, so Amy, you said yes. Do you
Well,
want
I did. I was hoping that someone else would shake their head yes. I wouldn't have to
Yeah.
do the explaining. But I know very cursory understanding because our pastry chef Donald Russell is going to be doing a little something. I think there's someone who's going to be spinning, and he's going to be doing something in regards to chocolate, and then we're going to be handing out some stuff. So yeah, it's a culinary stage, or really like a different sort of focus, kind of. What always inspires me about Outside Lands is that every year there's something new, and they're always kind of trying to one-up themselves, especially in the culinary space. And so you've got like a stage dedicated to all food related. I don't know if it's demos or what, but Donald's going to be there.
It sounds like a lot of fun. It's I think I'm involved in one little segment of it, which involves Lewis Black handling a food pairing with what goes well with barbecue.
Oh, rad.
There's a beer and a wine and a cocktail or spirit offered, and he'll decide what went best. And it sounds like it's a lot of little segments cobbled together, all in a really fun way of just kind of food. The Outside Lands food community that we've kind of come to know and expect, all kind of thrown into sort of an entertainment format.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
There's definitely some demos. We've been involved with those a couple years past, and I believe we're getting involved with one again this year. They'll usually pull our corporate chef over to one of those tents and do a little expo, little demonstration. I think last year or 2 years ago we made our Hawaiian poke just in front of the audience and threw everything together, did a batch of it right there, show people how easy it is to actually make it home if they want to. So
it almost seems like Food Network live.
Yeah, it can, for sure.
Plus music.
I was going down the list of some things, and a few things caught my eye that I thought was actually kind of cool. On Friday there's flavor tripping. Now I feel like I don't know what's going to happen there, but something about I don't know what's good. Some things of the future of food technology and changing flavors and changing things looks really cool with the Top Chef contestant Chris Jones. Looks kind of cool. Another thing that I noticed, I think Matt Besser is a comedian who I think lives here in Los Angeles. I don't know if he's already moved, but he's doing a thing called, what is it called? I just saw it. It's basically where chefs read bad reviews. And on stage, it's kind of like I think it's Jimmy Kimmel does this, like where they read bad tweets.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, and if
when you have to read a tweet about yourself that someone
right, yeah. If he is the same comedian that I met at the Upright Citizen Brigades, that's going to be hilarious. That looks pretty great. There's also Barbecue and Drank featuring Black. Oh, that's what you were saying, Lewis Black. They have a whole bunch of other stuff that just looks delicious. A food fight happening. It's a game show. So I think that looks like something kind of interesting to be a part of. So those of you who are going to the show this next weekend, make sure you check that out for sure. Now, let's talk about food and you guys. Now, how did you guys all get involved in being a vendor? Because I think Noah, you said you've gone to all the to the Outside Lands. But when did that shift happen? Like, did you guys approach them and say we would be interested in being a part of it, or what's that process like?
Well, for us it was a little bit different. We weren't around for the first ones, but then when we had a winery, we're very good friends with Peter Eastlake, who puts together the Winelands presentation at Outside Lands, and Peter owns a few wine shops in Berkeley, Vintage Berkeley, and so it's very easy for us to get involved since we're close with him. But that was our experience there.
I can tell you, back when we started in year one, we were almost hyper involved. We actually hosted a morning KFOG radio show. We have a restaurant location right next to Golden Gate Park at 9th and Lincoln there in the inner Sunset. And KFOG approached us and said, hey, we want to do a morning show, you know, right as the festival's kicking off. What would you guys think about hosting that? And I was actually the general manager of the location at that time, and it's quite an ordeal of an undertaking getting there at like 4 in the morning so they could set up all their audio equipment and test everything. Wasn't quite as technologically savvy as we are today here. So it was pretty exciting, and we actually kicked it off with Bloody Marys and mimosas in the morning. And it's kind of hard to serve people Hawaiian poke at 9 a.m., but we did our best, and we tried to, you know, fake it and have some baked goods for them as well. And but it was a great way to kick off getting involved in the festival. And we've just learned and grown each year with it. We started the first year with a single-size booth, the 10 by 20, I think it is, and then we realized, hey, let's double our space and double our output, and you know, shove this fish and chips down people's throats. So it's been getting bigger and bigger each year.
How popular are the fish and... Oh, I'm sorry, Renee. I was just going to say how popular, like how many do you sell per weekend?
Oh, it's insane. It comes in waves. I mean, you can really tell what's going on with the music venues based on the flows of traffic coming and going from the food vendors. We have always been located... Actually, the first year we were located in one of the smaller areas ever since we've been on the main bandstand area. And you literally can see a wave of people just kind of cresting over the hill and coming down as the big bands are getting ready to start, and then as soon as they, you know, start getting into their encores and final songs, you'll see the opposite, and people are start leaving. And as soon as we see the beginning of one of those waves, we just drop all fryers and all hands on deck, and we're pumping out fried fish, sweet potato fries, pretty much as fast as the fryers will go, and we just hope and pray that none of the fryers goes down during one of those sections.
Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, you know, we work them so hard during the waves that yeah, we have lost a fryer each year. Up until last year, we've increased the number of fryers. We actually run 6 double fryers consecutively, and you know, we're not just frying the fish and the sweet potato fries, but we also fry a dulce de leche spring roll for dessert offering. So there's a lot going on. We also fry the wonton chips that we serve with the poke. But we generally try to fry most of that before the day gets going, so we don't have to interrupt the fish and the important stuff.
How many servings of poke did you have last year? Do you remember?
I don't have a count, but let me ping my marketing manager and see if she might have a number for me.
Oh no, you don't have to do that. It just sounds like it must have quite a bit.
It's crazy. It's in the thousands for sure.
Oh, I mean, wow, in the thousands.
With the double wide booth, we now run 4 lines at the same time, and when those waves comes, those lines stretch out probably 30-40 people deep across all 4 lines. So it's just, you know, make it and get it out to them as quickly as possible, and we're shouting, hey, I need fish and chips over here on line 3, you know, and it's a fun, great, exciting, crazy time. But like I said, like nothing else on the planet.
I could imagine your employees, like after like one day, you almost have to do like a if you have new employees who are coming to work with you, yeah. like let's test them.
Indoctrination, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If they survive, you know, and it's like war, you know, one fryer down, one fryer down.
Right.
That's a reality show right there.
We use it more as an incentive for great employees, and also as a team building opportunity. It's really just a fun time to all hang out together, have a great time, taste all this cool and new foods, and go to wine gardens and beer gardens, and you know, check out. We let everyone take an hour off here or there throughout the day and check out the bands that they're most interested in. And they're all pretty lucky. They only come for a day. It's the executive team and the people running the company like me that are out there for, you know, 5 straight days if you count setup and teardown. So it's pretty enthralling, but at the same time, by the end of it, you're running on fumes after 14, 16-hour days. So
I end up rocking that the bandana look.
yeah,
I'm like
sure,
driving
for
around
sure.
in the golf cart with my bandana, and I inevitably end up with my 1-900 operator voice at the end because I've inhaled so much dust.
Hey, Renee, you won't believe this. In the Chocoland area, now, Amy, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I heard was that you're going to have a viewing area that basically is behind plexiglass or something where people are going to be able to see people making chocolate in real time. Like you're going to see the chocolatiers working.
Yeah, so we've kind of had a similar experience in that over the last 3 years. We've kind of evolved our kind of our involvement, and we started one year. Every year we've done this like 10-pound bar scavenger hunt around Outside Lands, where we hide 10 bars around the festival grounds, and people will find them and like come running back with like a gold bar, and then we give them a 10-pound bar. So the first year, we had a unit on site that basically just served as a storage facility for our chocolate, so people were just enamored by seeing like boxes of chocolate, which was pretty cool and fun. And so kind of inspired by that, the following year we kind of took a step up and created a workroom where we had flowing chocolate out of tempering machines, and decided to give people, we were selling what we were calling liquid chocolate bars. So basically, if you took a chocolate bar and melted it down and put it in a cup, that's essentially what we were selling. And so
I think Melody has a picture of that. Melody has a picture of that, because that looked really interesting.
It's very hard to describe. People are like, what's a liquid chocolate bar? I'm like, it's very literal.
It looked like it's in a cup, like it's hot cocoa almost.
Yeah, which is actually interesting because there's kind of two ways that you can make hot chocolate, one of which is using powder and mixing that with, your Swiss Miss is just mixing it with like water, or you take a powder and mix it with like a milk. The other option is more of kind of like a European style where you just melt down straight up chocolate wafers and add milk into that. And so this is sans milk. It's just melted chocolate. And then there's the different types of toppings. So this year we're doing the same thing, but we're kind of expanding the space. And yeah, so it's, people love seeing like melted chocolate flowing. It's pretty crazy. We've also got a pretty large illustration that shows the process of how chocolate's made, because a lot of people don't realize that it grows on a tree and that it's a seed, and then it's a bean, and then it gets ground and roasted and all sorts of stuff. So it's fun. We see it as an educational opportunity, and people are surprisingly interested. The first year I was there, I was kind of like, are people really going to want to know how chocolate's made? They like want to listen to their music. They want to like eat something sweet, get going. So it's fun. People are really interested in learning, which is, I think, evolution that's taken place at Outside Lands too. So it's fun.
I agree with that from the wine perspective too. It's very different than just having a concession where people can get great wine. There's actually a community of people that are hanging out there, and there are a lot of winemakers that are there that are interacting with people, and it feels very different than a concession area. It feels like a big wine bar that's in the middle of a huge rock festival, and it's a really cool thing. I've never seen anything like that spirit anywhere else.
That's a good point. It's like going to a wine festival.
Yeah, it's exactly like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Beerlands feels the same way. There's all the way through Outside Lands. There's an amazing sense of place. You just feel like you're in San Francisco, and that the festival itself has done a great job of cultivating this sense of place. And you're in Golden Gate Park, one of the finest parks in the country or world even, and you never lose sight of that. Whether you're wandering through from stage to stage, or discovering something like Chocolate Lands, or popping into Beer Lands or Wine Lands. I mean, it's all connected together in a really inspiring kind of way, and the little pockets of community that form around each thing kind of bleed together and give it a sense of place that's I've never seen anything like it at another, other than maybe New Orleans Jazz Fest, which I think there's a little bit of that in the DNA of a lot of the Superfly team coming from New Orleans, and really embracing that sense of, it's not just about the music, it's about the food and the rest of the cultural aspects that all kind of come together, and you can't really break it down and isolate. You really, it's those things all feed into each other and kind of form this culture and form a community, and it comes across at Outside Lands in a way like I've never seen. it makes you want to go back year after year and participate like this.
But I think too, like it's we're all in this kind of, for lack of a better term, I'm going to sound really cliche right now, but the craft of food and the craft of, you know, we all kind of take pride in what we do and creating this kind of artisan product, whether it's wine or beer or chocolate or poke. But you know, I think that too, like similarly with music, you know, it's there's a dotted line that kind of streams between everything, and we're all there to kind of appreciate the craft and appreciate the artistry that we all bring to whatever it is, whether it is wine or, you know, Tom Petty on a stage. So it's cool.
Amy, that's such a good point. I think though that the people in your situation kind of have it. It's a difficult responsibility, because it's one thing to just put fair food out, like, you know, I don't know, corn dogs, and just get lots of people out there. It's another thing to find something that is artisanal in nature and be able to mass produce it and make it for a group of foodies. I mean, it's like you've got several bars to leap there, no?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's inherent in how we just do our business and how and what it is that we do. You know, chocolate's an inherently the way that we approach our business is it's an art, and you know, there's an art that happens on the farm with the way the farmers are cultivating the beans, and when we get them, it's our duty to kind of maintain that artistry through the crafting process, and then we hand it over to a pastry chef who then kind of bestows their own level of artistry on it. So for us, it's easy because it's kind of inherent in what we do. But you know, I think that it's certainly a challenge in how to communicate that artistry to the audience at a festival like this, in a venue like that.
Rob, are there certain things that you might want to do or you'd love to do at a place at a festival, but you simply can't because you can't recreate it the way you want to?
That's a great question, and you teed me up perfectly, because I just wanted to explain a little bit. You know, you go to these festivals, you mentioned, you know, pulling corn dogs out of a fryer. We actually get a refrigerated truck behind our tent, and we have one of our prep guys in the truck almost the entire weekend, butchering fresh fish, cutting up our ahi tuna into cubes for the poke, and slicing up our cod for the fish and chips. And I think you'd be hard pressed to, you know, what event you go to and you have someone cutting live, you know, cutting fresh tuna right behind the tent. And you know, we take all the precautionary steps, of course, of obviously having a refrigerated truck, but you know, sanitizer solutions and cutting gloves and, you know, plastic gloves aplenty, of course, for serving, and just all the thought and care that goes into the entire step and process of it.
You're actually battering the cod there on site?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow. Oh, so you're not cutting any corners, huh? You're doing the whole thing right then and there.
Exactly. The only, you know, we do prep some of the jalapeno tartar sauce that we serve with the fish and chips ahead of time, and some of the dipping sauces that we use for our sweet potato fries. But otherwise, everything's done on site. We slice lemons for the fish and chips. We put the sauce into containers that go into the little boats with the food, and it's all, you know, as close to made to order as you can do.
I see some food images floating by. Can we look at some of those? They look good.
Yeah, I think Melody's looking for, there's a tuna pic that I keep telling her in the chat room. I'm like, show the tuna pic, show the tuna pic. She's going to be looking for that one, so we may go through some photos here that are not related. I want to give a disclaimer. First of all, Melody spelled my name wrong earlier, so she's already demerit.
Is Melody drinking some gin and tonics back there?
Probably. She probably has a little, like, a pouch that's hooked to her. You know, we're going to go through some food photos, and as Melody starts to go through those, you know, I didn't realize that you could buy just a day pass, because I know with some of the other festivals you have to buy like a weekend, 3 or 4 days. It's almost so pricey that I don't know who that's for, really. I like that. So if someone only has one day to come to the festival, where should they go, and how should they plan their food? You know, if they're going to come for, what time? I think it starts at like 11 o'clock or something like that. Yeah. Yep. Where should they go first? Obviously, Choco Lands. No, I'm just kidding.
There's no better way to start your morning than with a giant bar of chocolate. No, I eat way too much chocolate way too early in the morning, pretty much every day. So yeah, I'm the wrong person to ask.
Now, if you see me at the window going like, "Hello, let me in," I hope you do not let me down.
I won't. Don't worry.
I would say one great strategy is to not think about getting yourself a meal, but co-op some other people and try as much stuff as you can. There's nothing worse than kind of getting full on one thing and then going to see another concert and looking over to your left and thinking, oh man, I'd really like to try that too, and being too full. So I always try to buy in groups and try a whole bunch of different things.
That's a great notion, Noah, because when we're trading stuff, there's our Hawaiian Pokey right there.
Wow.
When we're trading stuff, with other booths behind the scenes there, that's the exact concept. Is we just get a couple plates of each thing, throw it on our communal table, and everyone just kind of picks it apart. And you have a little bit of a fried chicken piece, and then some waffles, and then a taco, and then a sweet cone, and all this crazy stuff going on. So,
Renee, I think they've never eaten with us because we would never get full. We would just keep going. Who are you eating? Who are you guys eating with? Hello. Okay, we'll give you that. We'll give you that. Well, let's talk about the beer and the wine. So I know that Melody has a couple of pictures of some wine that's going to be there. There's 2 years of wine that specifically, I think the 2012 Pinot Noir and the 2012, oh gosh, I can't even say this, Mordecai Red?
Mordecai Red, yeah.
I love that. What is that?
So the Mordecai Red is a fun thing. We started off with mainly Pinot and Chardonnay from the Sonoma Coast, very cool climate sites that produce very fresh, focused wines. Some later years in, we ended up with some extra wine of a couple of different varietals after we had finished our blends, and we thought, well, let's just put it all together and see what it tastes like. And that's how the first Mordecai was born. And so it was a red blend. It had 7 different grape varietals in it. And it turned out really well, and everyone loved it. So we thought, okay, we got to do this again next year, and maybe we should actually plan to do it instead of just seeing what's left over at the end. So we started sourcing specifically for that wine, and in the last vintage, we actually had 13 different varietals. So it's now become a little bit of a game. Just the last 2 things we added probably didn't really do anything for the blend, but we wanted to get to 13. So
lucky 13.
The lucky 13. So that's our red blend. Like I said, we mainly focus on Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, and this year we're going to have not only our regular Pinot Noir, but our rosé of Pinot Noir. So we're crossing our fingers that maybe there'll be some hot weather and there'll be a run on rosé. But one of the other great things I wanted to mention about Winelands and Beerlands is that, another thing in contrast to most large festivals or large gatherings, what you normally end up with is food and especially beverages from the big guys, from the large producers, from the Budweisers, large wine producers, the Kendall Jacksons of the world, because they're the ones that can afford to pay for the concessions. What they've done here is really brilliant, and I'm sure it takes a lot more work on their part to pull together a whole bunch of small producers, but it's another one of the amazing things about Outside Lands is that they've taken the time to do that, and it really provides a great diversity and a really interesting quality component to the food and beverage there. So I know that's definitely true of both Winelands and Beerlands.
Yeah, I mean, one of the hardest things with curating Beerlands is trying to find the sweet spot, bringing in the little smaller independent producers, the brewers that kind of make up a lot of the personality of Beerlands, but being able to have them supply the quantity of beer needed for a gigantic outdoor festival like Outside Lands. And so there is a sweet spot. You ask the smallest producers who you'd love to feature, and give them a good shot, but maybe they don't have enough beer, and yet that's part of the challenge. That's kind of the fun of it too, is to sort of find that, figure out who can supply the right amount of beer that can meet the needs of Outside Lands, but also give people a real taste of what's happening on sort of the very local, the very independent level. Who's out there in the trenches in the beer world, brewing really small batches, and a lot of times the beer that's at Beerlands it might be one brewery's entire batch of something is featured at Beerlands. Like that 14 or 18 or 20 kegs of beer that they had to supply for the weekend might make up the whole batch for that beer. So it's kind of an interesting way to look at it, or a cool way to look at it. Is like this is people really doing like jumping through hoops and doing everything they can to get their beer onto that kind of stage.
How many people are we talking about over the course of the festival?
I want to say it's well, no, I don't even want to say because I think I'm wrong. I was gonna say 20,000 a day, but I think it might be twice that many.
I mean, I want to say maybe the total attendance a day is 60,000. Is that possible? And you got a lot of return people who come back every day.
Yeah.
Right.
And Babette, to your earlier question about if you only had one day to spend there, how to kind of sequence or organize your day, not necessarily only specific to food, but they have pretty nicely detailed calendars of what's going on each day, and they hold pretty true to those times. Like I've taken off from our booth, and I think one year I went to try to go see Gallagher doing his, smashing his watermelons and stuff, and I got there like 20 minutes late and missed the show. And these little tents that they hold all these side shows in tend to fill up because when you have 50,000 people in one place, it only takes 500 of them to fill one of these tents, and you're going to find 500 people interested in that little sideshow. So really just pick and choose the things that interest you, and then just try to figure out where those spots are so you know where you're heading with the limited amount of time between the venues or the shows.
I think someone needs to create an Uber inside the place. So when I'm in that tent, I'm like, send me, go Uber food or whatever. Go to Chocolands and get me that liquid stuff and meet me at my tent. I think that's going to be my experience. I do have a question. We do have a question from Twitter, Renee, from Eric Deutsch. He wants to know Magnolia Pub. So Dave, what beer would go well with the Killer Set Sunday night?
Those are always great questions. Pairing something with music. But I'm gonna go with the nighttime factor there. Where it's highly likely a little bit of fog will have rolled in by that time. For me, I'm drinking like a kind of rich, warming beer, like a porter or a stout. There's a brewery sending High Water Brewing Company here in the Bay Area. They're sending a campfire stout. It's basically s'mores in a glass.
Ooh.
Graham cracker in the beer. There's chocolate in the beer. And it's all kind of wrapped up in a stout package.
Okay, so wait a second, because I think my mind is about to officially be blown there. You're saying I can have a s'more in a glass and a chocolate bar in a cup? Is that what you're telling me?
I guess we are.
While also great music.
Renee, I feel really bad. I didn't get the ticket. I feel really bad. I feel terrible. Oh man, I'm so guilty. Well, if I Instagram it, will you? If I bring it home for you, it'll be okay?
I just want to see a picture of it. Let me live vicariously. Let me see a picture of it. Dave, that sounds so good.
Dave, do you get to?
That's my call.
What?
That's my choice, I think, for the pairing.
When they submitted that, were you like, yes?
It just popped into my head. There's 60-some beers. We got 30 breweries, 64 beers being poured. It's the most ever that we've had at Outside Land. So there's a lot of choice. Even I have trouble keeping track of them all at this point.
Now I have one quick beer question for you. If you were a man who liked Bud Light or like a light beer, which beer would you have to try at Beersland?
That's a great question.
He's trying to watch his weight, and we're not going to say his name, Eric. Sorry, it's my fiance who's going. So, if he had one beer, what would you pick?
I think this year, of all the years that we've been doing Beerlands, this year is it really shows the amount of there's kind of a return to German brewing and European brewing that's popping back up in the craft beer world. For a long time, we were all kind of trying to differentiate ourselves with a lot of like robust, rich ales and that kind of thing. So anyway, this year we've got a lot of breweries are doing like German pilsners, German lagers, lighter beers. And they're still packing them full of flavor. They're using amazing ingredients, and so they're coaxing a lot of great flavors out of these beers. But they're in sort of a smaller package, and so they're light and they're refreshing. They're a familiar golden color. We've got Firestone Walker Pivo Pils is always a favorite. It was really great to be able to get that beer under the list this year. A couple others like that where that would be my choice. If I had to pick one, I'd say try the Pivo Pils. It's in that range, but it's a whole different world of flavor. But it still kind of fits that bill.
I'd like to make a suggestion, even though I won't be there. Babette, tell him not to worry about the calories. You guys are going to be walking around all over the place. Just tell him to enjoy some good beer.
Yeah.
That is a good point. That is a very good point. Usually when he's drinking the beer, he's sitting on the couch. So that makes total sense. So what about wine, Noah? What should we try? Because I like red, like my personal thing, but it always makes my teeth turn purple, and I look like I'm a crazy person like 20 minutes later. Yeah. So what do you suggest? Like, what do you suggest for like a daytime wine and then a night wine?
Yeah, I would go over to my friends at Wind Gap. They have something pretty interesting. They have, I think they're going to have it this year. I haven't actually seen what wines they're serving, but they usually have it. A Trousseau Gris. So it's a grape that is kind of in between a white grape and a red grape. It has kind of some pigment, but not fully pigmented. It usually comes out kind of like a rosé. It's usually one of my favorite wines that I'll definitely go find. Also, my friends from Scribe. They have an amazing winery in Sonoma, and they usually have some German varietals. They make both Riesling and something very obscure called Sylvaner, so they may have something like that to look out for. For reds, let me think. I'm looking at the list here real quick.
I think I should just try them all.
You should try them all, yeah.
Come on, let's be honest.
They serve everything in a taste portion as well, so you can actually just get like 1 ounce, and then you can go try a whole bunch of different things, like going wine tasting. But Red Car is a good one to check out.
They should have those machines where you just like pay for the card and you go, you do your own pours.
Yeah, but then you don't get to talk to the winemakers.
That's true. That's kind of an interesting thing because it's like I remember in the early days when I went to Coachella, I would never imagine talking to a winemaker at the booth. I mean, it was like I'd get in line, I'd grab my food, I'd go back, and there was like no relationship between the person who was taking my money and the person giving me the food at all. No story, no flavor, no nothing.
Is that because of your state of mind and you were afraid to talk?
Not enough wine. S'mores beer, I gotta try it. I just have to try it. I have to try it. And also I will be at Chocoland, like at the window, like, let me in, Amy, let me in. I don't know if that looks even funny. I can't even tell if I'm on the screen when I do that.
Yes, you are.
Let me in, Amy. Just kidding.
I think you're cut off already. Like, I mean,
I know. I'm like, an ambulance comes, you'll be like, oh, that took Babette. That's Babette's Uber.
They're gonna have your picture in all the booths. Like, look out for this woman. She's a known
fugitive on the loose.
Do not serve her, no matter what.
That's actually really funny. You guys should do that. You should have little get a Polaroid and put up and be like, she is no longer allowed to be served. And if you're really crazy, if you make it on that wall like 3 years in a row, then you get something like a year's supply of wine. Like just push people to the end. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm probably pretty evil. So we have about 8 minutes left. I want to talk about Chocoland. Let's what should I try? I saw a whole bunch of photos. Melody has some pictures of the chocolate. Those look like macaroons.
Yeah, those are macarons. So we've got Kara's Cupcakes is going to be there doing their awesome cupcakes. I think last year they also had a truck that was roving around. So they've kind of got 2 different points of purchase. You can kind of see them out and about. Epic Cookies does awesome just every sort of cookie you want. And so a lot of the vendors have, everything has something chocolate related, but there's also, if you're not necessarily in the mood for chocolate, which I don't know who wouldn't ever be, but there's also just sweets in general that if you don't necessarily want to, chocolate something, you can snag a cookie that's may or may not have chocolate in it. So then Humphrey Slocum's actually going to be there this year, which is super exciting. They did a vote for the Outside Lands flavor. Over the last few weeks, they've been sampling flavors at the Ferry Building, and the winning flavor has chocolate-covered waffle cones, which is amazing. We had a couple taste tests before we kind of decided on the 3 flavors up for voting, and they were all pretty amazing. So I was
What were the other flavors? I have to know what the other ones were.
Oh God, now you're putting me to test.
Bacon?
No bacon. One had brownie bits in it. Humphrey Slocum is known for kind of wacky, crazy pairings and things. They've got this just all sorts of really interesting flavors, as do a lot of other ice cream shops in San Francisco. But so they did the flavor that won is chocolate-covered waffle cone. So that's an exclusive flavor for Outside Lands. And then Dessert Bar will be there doing hot chocolate. Sharona's is there. She does these super-sized Rice Krispie treats and s'mores, and you watch these people and they have no idea how to dominate this giant s'more that's larger than their head essentially. So like I said before the show started, we do a lot of observing at Chocolate Lands because it's a lot of people oh my God, these are super sized everything. So and then we're there of course doing our chocolate bar giveaways, and then also selling our liquid chocolate bars and chatting with people. And over the weekend, actually, we are doing a little pre-event activation, and you can go around and potentially win a chance at getting a set of GA tickets, because the festival sold out super quick this year. It always does, but this year especially. So it'll launch tomorrow, but essentially you can go to one of the vendors, snap a photo of yourself there, and get entered to win a 10-pound chocolate bar and a set of general admission tickets to Outside Lands. So
okay, a 10-pound chocolate bar. What? Yeah. How big is that? Is that as big
I
as
actually should have brought one. It's it's extend beyond my screen. It's pretty big. It's a hunk of chocolate. I can try and run and get one so you guys can see it if you want. But it's yay big, that thick. I don't know if you guys have a photo of them, but on our Instagram, I've posted a couple photos so you can see people winning. And people don't really know what to do with it. I have friends who have gotten them from auctions, and they're like, what do I do with it? I always say chop it up and put it in a mason jar, stick it on your dining room table, and you'll have endless dessert year round.
I have a suggestion for next year. These are to the Outside Lands folks who are the powers that be. Chris, I'm talking to you, and Carrie. I think next year there should be an alcohol-infused land. So it's basically different foods that have alcohol in them, but it's a whole land that everything, so alcohol-infused, bourbon cupcakes, bourbon bacon, vodka something, tequila pasta, and I will curate that whole town. Just kidding.
I just want to take this moment to say that, Babette, you are such a giver. You are such a giver. Thank you so much for your service.
You're welcome. Amy! That's going to be my new thing now. Amy, I want chocolate. I'm sorry. Anyways, so let's, we only have about 2 more minutes left of the show.
Wait, we have a quick follow-up from Eric. He said, thanks Magnolia Pub for the Killer's Beer pairing suggestion, but he missed something. He said, did you say to go with some sort of campfire beer? I think he missed a little bit of what you were saying.
I said Highwater Brewing Company Campfire Stout.
Campfire Stout.
I was referencing, yeah.
And now, Rob, if I were going, I would definitely have to get the poke because my husband loves poke and I love fish and chips. But what are some of the other things that you might suggest at the festival?
It's funny, you know, the weather can actually play a huge role in that, because we have, while, you know, we have our hot fish and chips, which are obviously great when the fog blows in and it's cold, but we've witnessed some vendors that have had some horrible experiences and some very great experiences. Like one example, Phil's Coffee is out there. When the fog blows in, everyone wants to warm up, and he's selling coffee off the Richter scale.
Good. You want to come?
And then, you know, a couple years back, we had a vendor next to us who was trying to do, I want to say it was snow cones or slushies or something like that, and he just ate, you know, he ate it completely. He ended up losing his ass that weekend, unfortunately. But and we hate to see that. We don't want to see anyone, you know, not do well there, of course. But you know, it's hard. You're showing pictures of stuff that's bringing back memories, like banh mi sandwiches, and you know, just really great. There's a booth usually next to us, and they do these. It's something you would get at a carnival or a fair. It's like waffles, and then they do bacon and whipped cream and sliced strawberries on top of it, and like we have to fight ourselves not to be chick trading with them like every hour, basically. Yeah, it's crazy. You can find anything you want out there. You can get a burger, you can get a slice of pizza, but I would highly recommend avoiding your normal fare and trying to venture out and try some of the great eats that are there. There's of course the food trucks, you know, but again, you can probably find those other places as well, or go to off the grid. So I would just seek out those things that are unique and that, you know, venture out, try something new.
How has social media changed, like, during the festival? Do you notice, like, somebody will post something on Twitter, and then everyone will be like, I have to have that?
It's not just that. I mean, Outside Lands has their own set now where you can post things, and people are tweeting about the show that they're watching currently and who's on stage, and you got to come over here in the next 5 minutes, and, you know, hurry up. This food booth has no line right now. You should get your ass over here. And so social media has played a huge role. We usually use it as well, you know, just to reward loyal guests and loyal fans of Pacific Catch, and we try to, you know, pay it back to our loyal following. So, but social media is huge out there for sure.
You just made me think of a new thing. We are going to create a hashtag that's like no line. So LOL no line. That's going to be the hashtag. It's going to take off, I guarantee you.
Oh, huge. But the problem is it'll only be huge for 2 minutes, because then the line will be huge.
Exactly. So you'll just refresh on your Twitter app, and you'll be like, okay, there's no line here. Let's go there.
Yeah.
Always chasing the no line.
So we only have about 2 minutes left of the show. I want to make sure that folks know how to find you. Like, you're at the event. Tell folks where they can find you at the event, and then tell folks where they can find you after the event. Like, where can they come in to either taste your products or get it online, and where can people find you online? Amy, do you want to go first?
Yeah, we're going to be located in McLaren Pass, so you pretty much have to walk through Chocolands to get through, I forget what stages it is. Hellman Hollow, two of the main stages. Rob, I don't know if you remember off the top of your head, or any of you guys, but we're kind of up the path. So big sign, you can't miss us. And outside of Outside Lands, retail products, you can find us at Whole Foods, Buy Right Market in San Francisco, a lot of kind of smaller independent grocery stores. And then we sell a lot to pastry chefs. So if you're a pastry chef who's listening, you can find us usually at your local distributor. So, yeah.
Or in our macadamia nut brownies.
Awesome.
Dave, how about you?
Sorry.
At Outside Lands, Beer Lands is the two tents side by side at the back of the polo fields, right opposite the main stage, which is kind of on the way to McLaren Pass. And then outside of Outside Lands, you know, our two retail locations are the original Magnolia Pub on Haight Street, at Haight and Masonic, and our new restaurant and bar over in the Dog Patch, Smokestack. And then we're on tap at about 100 bars and restaurants in the city and around the Bay Area, and have beer at all the SF Whole Foods.
What about you, Noah?
So we're obviously at Winelands. I can't remember what stage it's by. I don't remember the name of the stage, but you won't have a problem finding it. It's huge. Ask somebody. And so we'll be there. We also have a new tasting room in Healdsburg, California. And if you've not been to Healdsburg, it's an amazing, charming, cool little city. And you can come visit us there. And obviously you can find us online at Banshee Wines, and we ship wine all the time as well.
And then Rob?
And soon at Pacific Catch.
Oh.
Soon at Pacific Catch. Nice. We are right by the main stage. We're on the north side of the polo fields. Turn and look towards Golden Gate Bridge in the fog, and you should see us. There's a tunnel that's about halfway up the field from the stage, and we're usually the second or third booth in from that tunnel. And then after or any time other than outside lands, we have 6 locations around the Bay Area. We started in San Francisco on Chestnut Street way back 11 years ago. Our other one in San Francisco, like I mentioned, is right by Golden Gate Park, 9th and Lincoln. And then we just opened up in San Mateo and Mountain View over the last 6 months. We're down in Campbell, and we're also up in Corte Madera and Marin.
Now, Renee, did you have anything you wanted to ask before we...
First of all, I'm very upset that I'm not going to the festival.
I know. I feel terrible. I feel terrible. I heard s'mores, and I'm like, oh no. He's going to kill me.
I have two thoughts going through my mind. I'm like, as soon as I hang up here, I'm going to tell my husband we need to plan a trip to San Francisco to go to all of these places. And then secondly, I'm like, what can I do to get that poke recipe? Because there's nothing like poke. So we might have to do a little bartering or something for that recipe.
I'll give you a quick snippet if you want.
I do want.
Okay, it's pretty easy actually. I can't tell you measurements off the top of my head, but
that's fine.
For our traditional Hawaiian poke, we use soy sauce, sesame oil, red chili pepper flakes, green onions, sesame seeds to garnish on top. It's like, that's it. It's pretty basic. It's just getting the right balance of those. You don't want too much soy sauce because then you got obviously too much salt and sodium there. But yeah, it's an awesome dish. We've been serving it since the place opened, and it's really our signature item. We now have a full poke section on our menu with 8 different pokies. So come on.
Well, we are definitely going to come by and try that.
Awesome.
I have never had that.
Hit me up, guys. I'll make sure you guys get a nice spot and well taken care of.
I will. So, before we get off, I always ask our guests who seem like they're having a good time. Hopefully you guys are all having a good time. Since each of you have different, there's chocolate, and there's wine, and there's beer, and it's like, you guys just have such a variety of stuff. Will each of you come back for a separate kitchen party hangout where we talk about sort of each of your products, each of your themes? I've had a little bit too much gin tonic, but this promise stands. We would love to have each of you guys to come back.
Absolutely.
I would love to come back, and I could probably even wrangle a chef or two to get on with me so we could get some better food descriptions as far as recipes and what really goes in behind the scenes.
I might be able to get my dad on camera. He poked his head in, and I asked him if he wanted to make an appearance, and he said no. So
that would be
next time maybe.
Oh, you gotta tell him to come in and say hi.
Hey, Dad.
Come on.
Dad? Oh, he's not dead. He's run away.
He ran out of the building.
Yeah, quickly. Yeah.
And I think Dave is still there. His video, I don't see. Dave, are you still there?
No, they want to say hello to you. Yeah.
Dave may be having a little bit of trouble, but the offer stands for all of you guys. Yeah. We'll reach back out. We'll make sure that you guys, that you're on our radar, and we would love to. Oh, there's Dad.
Hey, Dad.
Just saying hi.
Hi.
We're meeting a real chocolatier.
She says we're meeting a real chocolatier.
Yeah.
Here, do you want to say hello?
Sure. Hi, how are you?
Hi, good. Welcome.
Good. Yeah, thanks. Nice to be a member of the group.
So, do you have any chocolate tips that only somebody who has had a business since 18-something could bestow on us?
Oh, goodness gracious. Just taste as many different types of chocolates as you can. And that way you become your own expert.
That is a great tip.
I like your dad.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's half the fun of chocolate is all of the different types of flavors and many different types of beans that are out there. And I think the more experience you have tasting those, good and bad, the more you understand chocolate and what it takes to make it.
Awesome. So is your daughter going to take over the business now that she can't hear us?
Yeah, I think she's working on it.
Good. Awesome.
Yeah,
I love this.
Yeah.
I love that she can't hear this.
No, I know. She asked if we were going to take over the business.
Oh.
Amy is
Yeah.
wonderful. Well, we absolutely love her.
Well, she's already done a great job already. She's got a lot on her plate.
Well, if for some reason she needs help, Renee and I will offer our services.
We'll volunteer.
We'll be
Okay.
testers for sure.
Okay.
Also, Noah and Rob as well. We offer our services for you guys to come.
Anytime. Let me know when you ladies come up.
Great.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, it was great meeting you guys. We appreciate your time. For those of you who are watching at home, remember, use our Kitchen Party hashtag. We are on a summer break right now, so we're not going to have a new show until probably September. But next week I'll be at Outside Lands. I'm going to be tweeting and using their hashtag, which is pound OL 2014. I'm going to be posting a lot of the food photos, also OL food, which is the other hashtag as well, and Kitchen Party. So we will see you guys soon. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We will hopefully see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
great festival, everyone.
Thank you.